Chiefs drop the 49ers on their hunt for gold. They get it done. They're 6-0, and the NFL has made a colossal mistake that is going to screw them all over. Welcome in. It's RGR Football. I hope you guys are ready. This is going to be a fun one. Let's get it. Chiefs had some guys stand out. This guy, powering through, making Swiss cheese out of something that looked like a solid brick wall. Kudos to Kareem Hunt. This guy contributed just like we told you he would. Where does that leave them, and what do they do next? Welcome in. This is RGR Football. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is what we do live post-game. Hope you guys are doing well. Like, sub, hit the bell right now so you don't forget and you get caught up. We have a ton of questions in the chat already. And if you guys don't know, we go over our notes in this show post-game. We're going to tell you what we saw. We'll answer some of your questions, some of your topics. All the super chats will get an answer, I guarantee you. But the big Q&A is tomorrow night on Monday night at 7 Central. So make sure that you're here for that too, in case we can't get to all your questions tonight. But Dan, big takeaway from you. What's at the top of your list?
I'm sorry. I'm going to do my best today, guys, because I'm not overly mad about what happened offensively. There's only so much you can do when you lose 1, 2, 3 wide receivers. You lose another player. There's only so many things you can do. So I'm not going to be super mad about it. The Chiefs put up 28 points, which was the most of their entire season today against the San Francisco 49ers with these players. And yes, Gary did absolutely get back, and I'm sorry once again, Gary. That won't happen again. But I think the big thing that I want to talk about is Spags' game plan. This was a get out to a lead and end it. Be over. We don't care. We don't believe that Brock Purdy can throw them back into this football game. So let's stop the run early. Let's get after it. And honestly, for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drives, it's like they had nothing going. They could not do anything outside of a short field.
Yeah.
That's really all their offense was in this football game, and it was a 14-point swing. Patrick Mahomes misses the touchdown to Xavier Worthy, which would have been at 6, and then he accidentally gets tripped by a defender, falls down, throws an interception, not his fault. So honestly, all that I can really say is that you find ways to win games. That's what we've been saying. That's what they're saying. And when you can find ways to win football games that you can't play your best, you're not at your best, you're not at full strength, okay, you live with what you got.
I'd argue they're not at half strength yet. What the hell? And they're still eking out these wins. I mean, Xavier got interfered with. There is no question in my mind. You have 5 yards to make contact, and then it's over. And it was well past that. Same thing with Kels. There was other things going on here. In fact, I'll probably do a piece this week, folks. Make sure you like and sub, because I might just turn into a hater and be like, the refs hate Kansas City too, because it was evident in this ball game. It comes down to a couple of things for me. The Spags defense held the San Francisco 49ers, despite, yes, they started with Ayuk and Debo, but yes, they lost them both. Held them to 2 for 11 on third down. You can't win ball games with that. Yes, the Chiefs won the turnover battle. Hopefully, Mahomes can get rid of a couple of those, but you still won, and you come out on top relatively in the turnover game right there. That's how you get wins when you're not playing your best. Now, I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions tomorrow on what they do at wide receiver, but without Juju at wide receiver, somebody else had to try to step up. They forced the ball 8 times to Xavier. He took a good hit. I was a little concerned, I have to be honest. But he did a good job. He bounced back. He got checked out. He did a good job getting out of bounds. He just is not quite ready. I see this, Dan, like exactly the same path Rashee Rice was on at this point last season. Like, he's just not there to be on his shoulders, right? But that can still come.
The thing about this is that he's not there to be on his shoulders for the offense, and he still should have like 5 deep touchdowns this year. That is the big thing I keep coming back to, is that he is not just open. It's for big touchdowns, and they just can't. Mahomes cannot connect with it. I don't know what's going to take, but the deep ball this year for Patrick has been inconsistent at
He is
best.
still open.
Am I, did I freeze out?
Okay, you got cut up there. Try that again.
Yeah, I don't
You did for a little bit, but that's okay. At least I lost you.
Okay. Well, the internet connection here is awful.
It's a hot
I'm gonna rebound. I'm gonna reboot. This is awful.
Rock and roll. I'm going to jump into the questions. Daryl, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you and for all your support over the years. Now that Sky Moore is our second or third receiver, tell me something good. He blocks his butt off. I'll tell you that. If we have to keep seeing them do what they did today, where Kareem Hunt has to put his head down and not just make yards after he hits the hole, but make yards in the hole because they're jamming every gap in the run game, having somebody that can help block that if you get to the edges is a plus there. Now, I will say, I won't call that a drop on Sky Moore today. I believe that was a really tough ball to catch just in the first place. Would have loved it if he came up with it, but the fact that he didn't, I'm not going to call that a drop or get angry at him. When he was on the field, I felt he contributed in the run game, and I don't think it was a total negative. The plus side is you didn't lose anybody else. Juju will eventually be okay. I think it was just a re-aggravation. The hamstring thing, it's a tough thing for older dudes. He'll be able to bounce back eventually. You got, I think, great contributions from other guys stepping up. We told you about Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman gave you a contribution today. Yes, it was more, with 2 rushes, was it, for 38 yards and only the 1 reception and the punt return, though. That was significant as well. Like, you're getting something from someone else. They went back to Justin Watson finally. I thought that was overdue, quite frankly, in this game. But you still have that. I do think they're going to have to do something at the wide receiver spot, but Sky Moore isn't necessarily the issue right now in my mind. It's being able to actually be where you're supposed to be. Do you have thoughts?
It doesn't matter anymore for me. Sky Moore is a lost cause. It's not his fault either for a lot of it. Like, every time he's thrown the football, it's in a situation where he has to catch the football, and he just hasn't been able to for whatever reason. This last one, okay, fine, whatever. I'm over the experiment. It's done. The Chiefs themselves did not bring anybody up in this football game. When you had Juju Smith-Schuster nursing a hamstring injury coming into the football game, that's again putting a lot on Sky Moore and Mecole Hardman that you don't have to do. That you don't have to do that. Sky Moore has never been able to come in and make you look good. He's never been able to do it. So you want to consistently put him in those situations to do that, and you're actively hurting yourself in the process. Mecole Hardman, fine. He's had big games for you in the past. And against the 49ers, he just continues to ball out. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him being involved more. But Sky Moore has just been put in a situation where when he has to be on the field, everybody's eyes, including the coaching staffs, make a play. He doesn't make a play. So it's over with, needs to be done with. But at this point, he's been on the roster for 3 years, and the Chiefs love players that know the system, and they're injured at wide receiver. So he's not going anywhere, unfortunately.
No, not going to make a change. His contract will run out, and that'll be what that is. We're supposed to be professional winners like the Patriots. Why are we starting dumb fights in garbage time? That's a good question. In fact, I wrote in my notes, and you members will get my notes. If you join at the rookie level or above, you get all of our extra content as well as my game notes from every single week. And it's in there. Like, I didn't see the beginning of that play as to what brought on that first. It looked like an attempt at a low block from what little I saw. Yeah. And Cook kind of like took a swipe at him. But it's a little bit different than actually standing up and taking a punch. So I think Brian's got to calm down a little bit, but that is definitely on Williams. And I think Williams is probably still a little bit pissed off that he could have been on this team a couple of years ago and have a couple of rings that he doesn't have. So piss off, buddy. Who cares? Let's see them hope to clean that up is my thought. Who stood out in your notes on the either side, whatever you think was important?
I thought the interior offensive line, honestly, the entire offensive line in the second half of this football game locked it down. Patrick was a little bit under pressure, sometimes of his own accord, and where they had things blocked up and he was stepping right into pressure. I think in the second half of this football game, they did a fantastic job of getting through it, and not just pass protection, but run blocking. And for whatever reason, this game, they come out in the second half throwing the football, not running it once. It didn't make any sense to me why they did that. And then they got back to it, and they started to do exactly what this team needs to do against a team like the 49ers, whose interior defensive line is legitimately garbage. It's awful. They're hurt, and they're a bunch of backup players that can't stop the run. You saw them do what they do well, attacking downhill. And that's exactly what Kareem Hunt, and then at times you saw Carson Steele doing it as well. They got to lean on that run game, and for whatever reason, they went away from the play action pass, which frustrated me a little bit. But I we're just you know, want to talk about the interior offensive line just leaning on the San Francisco 49ers defense, and it was great.
It definitely was. And I hope that it's something that it proves they can do again, folks. If you missed our earlier stuff, you can get it on Autograph. We have exclusive content for them each week now that you're going to get pre-game. So make sure you go sign up at Autograph. There's a link in the description. But for those of you that saw that, I would love some feedback on what you'd like to see there, because while we're entering in new partners, it really is still for you, the RGR fans, and we want to make sure that we keep hitting out of the park for you. I thought Kareem, this was the kind of game that I wanted from Kareem. This is where I thought maybe he would break down a little bit when they know he's coming and they're jumping gaps and they're taking everything away, and yet he's still grinding through. When he made yardage behind the line of scrimmage, when he had to, that's what he got paid for. I'm really glad to see it. And it does feel like he did look a little winded at times to me, and I can't blame him. But they got to keep playing him into shape. What did he get in terms of carries? It was still pretty high, but it wasn't like last week. It was 22, so less, but still a little bit heavy in my mind. What did you think?
Well, when you don't have much else, you kind of have to lean on the guy that wants it. Like, he wants to be fed, and that's what you kind of have to do. I think he got hit up high a couple of times. He fell on his back early in the football game where he kind of like limped off a little bit. He was obviously banged up a little bit. Maybe it was wind knocked out. Maybe it was just, man, my body is not really used to taking this anymore, and it probably shouldn't. You're hoping that they can get to when Isaiah Pacheco comes back, because that 1-2 punch, him and Kareem Hunt are actually going to be fantastic together, because they work well and they fight off of each other. And that's what you want. You don't want Isaiah taking the majority of those. You don't want Kareem Hunt taking 22, 27 carries a game. You want to be able to say, okay, here you go. Here you go. And then you can say, when you get in the red zone, both of you guys on the field, who's getting the football?
I want 14 carries apiece, because 28 carries of those two guys coming is going to scare the hell out of any defense out there, and I am absolutely here for it. You saw how it wore them down, and that's the goal. Everything that I've been chanting at you guys for like 7 years came to fruition today, because it worked exactly how it's supposed to work. That's what we should be seeing, and that's what the run game's for. Daryl, thank you again. Another supportive gesture. Thanks for the 5 spot. I'm not happy we couldn't make a move or couldn't bring someone up from the practice squad. But to Dan's earlier point, it wasn't couldn't. They decided not to. That was a conscious decision on Andy Reid's part. You can't put that on Brett Veach. He doesn't control the game day roster. That is all Andy Reid and his staff. So they felt that Juju was good enough. They were wrong, but they felt like Juju was going to be enough, and then supplement with everybody else. I think that will change going forward, and I think we will see something new. Thundarius, thank you, buddy. Nice to see you. Shout out to Jody Fortson. Yep. Played a few more snaps. He did get targeted once, didn't make the reception that I remember. I'm just double checking that. Yeah, just one target. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. How about those Chiefs? They are 6-0, and this is what I was hinting at earlier. The NFL has made a drastic mistake at allowing them to do what they wanted to do, allowing them to get Xavier Worthy, allowing them to go pick up Kareem Hunt, allowing them to bolster their secondary with more young players that just keep making plays. I mean, this guy's one thing. He's a veteran. He should be making plays, right? But it's everybody else. It's Hicks. It's making this kind of thing in the end zone. I mean, that is a kind of play that we've been talking about Hicks since the day he was drafted. Like, this is what he's going to bring to this roster. And I'm glad to see it pay off. I don't know how many snaps he played, but this was exactly what I expect from him, to be the man in the place at the time that he needs to be. What do you think?
I love seeing him get snaps in the red zone. That's where you can use him the most, because there's not a lot of space where tight ends are going to work away from him. And you can just say, hey, we have a big physical guy who can play kind of linebacker, but play safety. Just put him on tight ends and say, cover them. There's not much space to work with. And he was in exactly the right spot. And it felt like Brock Purdy had no idea where these guys were. Just 2 rookies coming away with interceptions in this football game. I know the CRW one was more of they kind of moved Brock off of his spot, miscommunication with the receiver. But guess what? He's in the spot where the receiver is supposed to be, because he's trailing. Like, he's right there. He's supposed to be there. So I loved what he was doing. I think he played very well as well in terms of playing. He got a lot of work in the second half of this football game, because they were starting to use Ricky Pearsall in the slot. And you want to know who was not a very good matchup for that? our guy, Jamari Connor, you put CRW on him. I thought he played very well. There was a couple of plays where he got loose, but that man coverage, he showed why he's there. He showed why he's there. No one got loose from him. He was able to make tackles, like close to a PBU, got the interception. It's exactly why he's on the team.
That is exactly like, and again, it's been 7 weeks of the regular season. Like from the guy that we saw in the preseason, he's already made improvements. He is going to continue to evolve just like everyone else. We have a ton of super chats we have got to get to, folks. So we're going to shift a little bit and answer more of your questions. If you want any of the gear, the hat Dan's wearing, the hat I'm wearing, any of the gear in the back with the Rogue Nation, you can get that as well. And you get in our Discord. I had a couple people ask me about Discord lately. All you got to do is go sign up for your Discord account and log into it. And in the settings, connect to a YouTube. And that, if you sign in for your YouTube login within Discord, you'll get into Rogue Nation instantly. It is part of the authentication that FLDB set up, our man on the ground in Discord. So go check that out. Daniel, thank you. I know you have something coming up. I'm going to try to go in order here. So Andrew, we just have to be the best at winning ugly. You're absolutely right. MVP Mahomes had a rough game statistically, but put the offense on his back. That fake out, along with the one in Tennessee, was probably, good God, the craziest thing. Like Tom Brady was dumbfounded because he can't do any of that. Never could. But it was even more impressive to me than like the craziness you used to see from Steve Young. Like that's how level it was. And I know he's not the athlete Young was. He certainly isn't Lamar, but like he's got what it takes to make those decision points and make it work. We'd be lost.
One thing that you really need to understand is that he understood exactly how to make the "you can't hit me on the sideline" rule work for him when he goes for 33 yards. He's like, you're coming at me, but guess what? If you hit me, because I'm going to be out of bounds, you can't do that, because he's made people go back to the AFC Championship game against the Bengals. That is in people's heads because he got that call. Yeah, guess what? He was out of bounds. He's running near the sideline. He's like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and make you think I'm going to go this way. And then he just runs right by guys for 33 yards. That is just, it's intelligence. It's why we're talking about Patrick as one of the greatest of all time. He's not having a good year. He's not. But in these games, consistently, this goes back to the playoffs last year. He's doing what you need to do to win. Okay? Yeah, it's not fun. We're having like talks of grandeur, but going into the season where he was going to throw for 5,000 yards, throw for 50 touchdowns again. I'm going to tell you right now, that's probably never happening. That's probably never happening again. And it's not because of Patrick Mahomes. It's because you have to have things go so perfectly to be able to even put yourself in positions to throw the ball 9-10 yards down the field, and when defenses are playing the way they are against Patrick. And then you have to hit the throws. For whatever reason, Patrick has not been able to hit those throws consistently this year. They are there, and he hasn't been able to do it. But in crunch time, 4th down, it's Reed, Travis Kelce on the goal line. He's getting mugged up and held. Fine. I'll take it myself, and then I'm going to truck the guy who has been hitting every single Chiefs offensive player with perfection. The truck putting the shoulder down in the end zone is the ultimate. I will do it all myself if I have to.
Yeah, that was his Josh Allen moment. Like, you know what? You've been crushing us all game, and now I'm going to give you some back while I score. So, Andrew, thank you for the 5 spot. Appreciate you. And we are gonna talk at length about wide receivers. There's a ton in here. I got to get through some of this, or we're going to be here all evening.
My bad,
how many catches more have? You're correct. None. We've done this at this point, and we understand. I would like to see Romeo get a chance. I wouldn't mind seeing Washington come up. If you're not going to get an outside acquisition, give it a shot. If you'll throw jump balls, bring up Justin Ross. If you still refuse to do that, I don't see that he can help you right now. But maybe it'll make them change their philosophy. Daryl, you had a good point. Hardman did have a good game. Can he do it twice in a row? That's the big question. You're right, because we have seen him be terribly inconsistent over the years. So let's see what he does next. And thank you, buddy. Appreciate your support, as well as giving away a membership. Now, for those of you who got the lucky memberships, there's a few that have been given out here tonight. Please thank the members in the chat that are doing that for you. They like to give them away. You get in at the draft pick level. You can participate in the chats. You get all the bonuses here. You can upgrade to the rookie level that much easier and get all the extra content, goods, discount. And I will repost the members discount code in Rogue Nation this week. So make sure you're into the Discord to see that. Appreciate you guys. FLDB, my God's Earth is still his guy's still on this team. He can't do anything. Someone from the Chiefs, please answer this. And that's the thing. Thank you. I appreciate you as always in being our Discord guru. I can't read their minds. I wish I could get somebody to tell us something, FLDB, but I got nothing. And Kyle talking about lowering the boom. Yeah, that kid will remember that. And this is a pissed off Niners team. Trent Williams displayed that. Mustafa will now bring that back next time. So watch out the next time these teams meet because he's going to be looking to take somebody's head off. Thank you, Kyle. Daryl, I like to see Pat level number 6 for a touchdown. Yeah. Yes, it was incredible. Caroline, what did you have here? Let's go. No O-line penalties. See, this is why you have the best comments, because I didn't even consider O-line penalties. I thought Moore started rough, but I think he settled down. Dan, did you watch him more intently than I did?
That was part of my second half conversation, is that they played pretty rough in the first half. In the second half, they calmed down, and you didn't see a ton of problems, a ton of pressures, a ton of missed blocks. So I think that Wanye, along with everybody else, kind of settled in the second half and really took it to them. And that's why you saw the run game really take off there, especially in the fourth quarter.
I agree. And Caroline, great observations. I know you have more coming here later in the chat, so I'm gonna keep ripping. How impressive was our defense? They got after Purdy today, and it was super exciting to seeing several of our rookies get interceptions. I couldn't be happier for Sierra W for not getting a whole lot of playing time and really getting that fresh peak. We've talked Hicks up a ton. For him to deliver is great, but for a guy to come out there and not only make the roster, but then produce on the field, it honestly reminds me of Jalen Watson and the way that he came on. And now we're to the point where if Jalen's really that hurt, in a walking boot, as I understand, and on crutches coming out, that's significant. But he's been playing great, as you pointed out in your film room. That's going to be a tough one. Who gets in your film room this week? That's my question to you.
I don't know yet. Like, we got lots of guys to talk about. Like, just something on the defense for sure. I really don't have a clue yet. We're going to get to it at some point tonight and tomorrow to see what we got.
Maybe about this one, because Colson has a great question. How did you feel that FAU played tonight?
I think Felix played pretty well. The very first play of the game, he got a TFL, he set the edge, and then he knifed into the back of the backfield for a TFL. He had a few pressures. There was one where he lined up against the center. He won, and then he just was unable to get to the quarterback before the ball came out. That's not his fault, but I mean, there were some really good signs. He's playing much better football.
Yeah, I think his base is coming along quite nicely. Time Sacks, thank you, buddy. 4 out of 5 in the red zone, absolutely. On a serious note, can we please get a wide receiver, Deontay Johnson? Do you think it's worth it? I know he had an injury in practice. I don't think it's terribly severe, but does that bother you at all?
No, I think he'll be just like Devontae Adams was. He'll come to Kansas City if they trade for him, and magically that injury will disappear.
I think you're probably right. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, PK. I love you guys too. Thanks, buddy. What's going to happen at wide receiver? PK. They're gonna try to get by as cheap as they can with their own guys, and if they have to pull somebody in, they will. I'm just not sure about the MVS thing. I feel like they've been burnt too much, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's a sure thing." I don't know that he helps you. Net. How many? He'll probably score a couple touchdowns for you. He'll probably drop 5 of them. So I don't know if net he is actually going to help this team. Am I being too hard on him?
I'm going to wait until whatever does happen. And if it does, you guys will get an extra special rant just for you members. I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold it all in.
Okay. All right. I will skip on by. Akia Country, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Always been around.
Have a question from
support. Oh, do we? Okay, good. Pull it up there. You're probably better at it than I am. Very pleased with the total win. Elite play defensively, like it. But I'm worried about the injuries will derail us. Andy is saying Watson's MRI won't be good. Oh, I didn't hear that yet. Okay. Wide receivers keep dropping. Is there a reason to be hopeful? What's the reason to be hopeful in all this, Dan?
I mean, the reason to be hopeful is that they're still winning these football games. Obviously, they're doing what they can with what they have, but they're consistently putting guys in the right positions, specifically defensively, to get better. Now, my concern with the Jalen Watson injury is that we saw Najee Johnson get cooked by Jacob Cowing. It was not great. He did not stay on top of the route. He got fooled by the double move. It's a double move for a reason, but you got to stay on top of the route, even if it's an outward breaking route. And Najee Johnson / Joshua Williams has not exactly worked out. And so I think by default, if Jalen Watson misses like the season, which I mean, we're not going to find out until those tests come back, I would think Joshua Williams is going to be the guy that takes that role on because of the experience factor. Najee Johnson looks out of sorts. He looks like he has no idea what he's doing, and that's not great.
Yeah. No, it is not. And maybe a crash course will help him, but I agree. I think Joshua will get the first crack at it. Matt, appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Matt.
So with the critical embarrassing information Sky Moore have on this team in all seriousness, what solution is the Sky Moore ordeal? Yes, I'd like the ordeal. The solution is he ain't going anywhere. There's no reason to. He's super cheap. He's on a rookie deal. They won't re-sign him, but they're not going to cut him because they need bodies at this point. So unfortunately, just prepare to deal with it. I hope that they can get Remy or Washington up to kind of play that role because you have big body and Watson out there. Like you're going to let him play the X for the most part and give Juju some time to heal so that you don't rush Juju back, knowing that like you don't want to like string out his injury, hoping to get Hollywood back. You gotta make the most with what you got. Could they go after Demarcus Robinson? I think they might. I would think that they probably want him more than they want MVS, is my thought. But who knows? We're going to see what happens. Thank you, Matt. Ryan, thank you. Should we be worried about Kelsey or is Gray coming into his own? I think it's a bit of both. Every time I see a new commercial or a new TV show or something new that Travis did over the summer, I'm like, bro, when did you rest? When did you rehab? I just don't know if Travis is going to be like himself until the postseason when he actually dials it up.
That's what this is about. It's not about regular season stats anymore. He gave it up when he decided he was not going for the 1,000 yards last year. He decided that he was moving on from regular season stats. It has no bearing. They win football games. He does not care. He won't care until the postseason. And then when the postseason does hit, you guys are going to see Travis Kelce smoking guys again. I promise you that much.
Yeah, I think he's saving it. I completely agree with you. Night Hunter, crazier game, Chiefs Niners or Vikings Lions? I'm going Vikings Lions.
Vikings Lions. For sure.
That was a barn burner today. I actually enjoyed watching it. I usually watch when the Chiefs aren't playing. I watch on the fourplex on YouTube TV, and like I kept going back to it in single view because that's how crazy it was. That's always a sign for me. Quentin, thanks for the support. Appreciate you, buddy. We've handled the Sky question. Lord, people upset that Trent didn't get ejected and that Cook did. I mean, I do think there was a difference in behavior there. Should you have penalized Brian Cook? Yeah. I mean, Brian's my guy. We all know this. He's got a little bit of a temper. He should have been penalized, but I don't think he should have been ejected. I don't think that was like a true punch. I don't know what you think.
Got to get a penalty for it. You can't hit people in the helmet, period, at all. You can't do it, and you have to be. Honestly, this is not Brian Cook's first instance where he's gone after people. And with his play this year, you might want to stop doing that because you might start losing some snaps to a guy named Jaden Hicks. He might start playing a little bit more. You might start seeing Justin Reed be out there as a single safety, trying to get him more involved. You have to be careful with a team that has as many DBs as Steve Spagnuolo does, because if you start playing with your head half cocked, you are not in for a good season. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it can come back to bite you. Kyle, love seeing Kareem doing his best impression of his 2018 self. I like that. I love the contact balance. Hope he can keep it going for a few more weeks. Well, that's my concern, is it's got to get under 20 carries next week, because otherwise I don't see him making it through 17 games. Last time he was here, it was only a 16-game season. Let's remember that too. You know what I mean? So like, yes, kudos to him, but a little bit more downfield contact, a little bit less getting his butt kicked behind the line of scrimmage just to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
Dang. Come on, guys. Jane Doe, thank you for becoming a member. I hope that you enjoy it. It's
Appreciate
all in there in the explanation. Check out Discord when you get there as well. All right. Chandaman, right? Did I say that right this time, Dan? You tell me.
Nope, it's Casey Handeman, right? Right? Or is it? I don't remember.
I think I got scolded last time.
I think you said
remember,
it right
and I'm
this
sorry.
Time. I think you said it right this time because I am used to you saying it the way that I just said it. So
I'm terrible. I can't spell my own name half the time, you guys. Just roll with me. Looking forward to Nick Wright tomorrow. I'm sure. How much was Hayden Hicks in this game? Yeah, he is certainly a dog. I honestly don't know. Like, I remember seeing him a few times, but like I wasn't counting his reps. But I'd be surprised if it was more than 20 on defense. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. I'd be surprised if it was closer. I would be surprised if it was like over 10. I think he played about 10,
Yeah,
11-ish snaps. I don't think he played a ton, but that'd be awesome if he played more than that because you didn't notice him in a bad way. You definitely didn't.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Daryl, thank you again. You're on fire tonight, Daryl. Does this mean Robertson's coming back? Robinson, yes. MVS maybe Butterfingers now. I mean, yeah, that's kind of. I think we were both lean towards DeMarcus over MVS, right?
Yes, absolutely. Would much rather have DeMarcus over MVS, please. I'll deal with the backwards running because he's going to catch the football.
Right. I heard the craziest thing today, and I'm all in on it. Some people said that there's some source out there that says that now that they have Adams, that they're ready to move on from Garrett Wilson. And I'm like, I would give up next year's one for Garrett Wilson. Would you?
They wouldn't trade for any more than 2 firsts. It would not happen.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just saying. I think that's nuts, but if it were to happen, I would absolutely lose it. This has to scare the NFL. Mahomes is off, but yet 6-0. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, Alex, you nailed it. And thank you for being with us for over 2 years now.
Appreciate you, man.
This should petrify the NFL that they let all these things happen. They let them sign guys off the damn street to get to this point. And nobody else in the AFC is close. It's a 2-game lead on all of the AFC, and now the Vikings go down. And kudos to Sam Darnold. I thought he actually played pretty well through that game.
Yeah.
And definitely came back pretty well. But just to get all this done when everybody else has dropped off and they are the last team standing, it tells you something about how good they are. Would adding Hill to this team put them completely over the top? Absolutely, Fidget. And he's not even what he was. I think Tyreek Hill's probably only 90 or 95% of what he was 3 years ago. But it ain't never going to happen.
No, it's never going to. They're never going to be able to. No, I'm just saying they're never going to be able to get that trade off, unfortunately. It would be great. I'd love to see him come back. And I predicted when he was traded that he'd come back to Kansas City before it was all said and done. And it might after this season, because I'm pretty sure that his contract is still up after this year, but it just front-loaded his contract to give him more money this year. So I would not rule it out.
It just isn't going to be a trade this season, is my thought.
No.
Yeah. Dirty, same question. I know. Okay, got that one from info earlier. I haven't seen it explained yet. MRI usually means that you're looking at a soft tissue or a ligament. It would be for either. So we won't know until we know. They'll make an announcement eventually. KL, how do you not elevate a single wide receiver with a Juju's hamstring injury? And that's what Dan was saying before. All I can say is that someone made them feel confident that he was going to be able to deal with it. That's all I can think.
14 personnel is your answer.
Right.
The reason they had did not bring anybody up is because they can play 3-4 tight ends.
And they knew they wanted to run the ball anyway. So
yeah,
they were comfortable. That's all I know. Greg, thank you. Hey, and thanks for being somebody who thinks we're their favorites. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate you.
And thank you. We try to work well together. We don't always agree. For those of you who think that we come up with all this stuff and we always agree, that is not the case in any way, shape, or form. We have plenty of disagreements. We just respect each other's opinion and don't call each other out in mean ways. So when does Ross get a shot? That's the question from Adam. And Adam is always asking good questions. So what do you got, Dan? Give me a week. When does it happen?
Oh, is it 2023? Because he already got his shot, buddy. Sorry, Adam. I don't mean to call you out, but he got his shot. He wasted it, and the Chiefs are just like, no, we're done. And if he was going to be anything, he'd be on the roster. With these injuries, he'd be on the roster, and he's not. So that should tell you everything you need to know about Justin Ross.
I'm saying there's another injury next week, and he gets called up the week after that.
Why would you put that on this team? Why would you put that on this team? Why? Why?
Because usually I'm absolutely wrong about all these things, so I'm happy doing it. Ask me about contracts. I'll be absolutely wrong about all of those too. At least when we're in season. Reggie, thank you. I forgot some of you calling Hunt washed up. Okay, great. Thanks for the support. Yeah, I don't think we ever called him washed up.
I think they might just
Told
be
him I didn't
referring
think
to
he had
some
his
of the
top
people,
gear, and he doesn't have his
just some
top gear.
people out there. Just probably some people out there that have called him washed. And to be
Well,
very fair,
I'm
like
taking that
Ryan,
as an affront, Reggie.
just to be fair about the whole situation, Kareem Hunt, if he is not already moving forward, it's not great. It's really not great. I feel very uncomfortable until he gets a little bit of momentum, because that's when he starts to do what he does best, and it's the contact balance. But if he's not actively jump cutting from one to another, he can't get there. He just does not have that athleticism anymore, which is okay, because what the Chiefs are really good at right now is getting in their formation and running it right at you. And that is what Kareem Hunt is still good at.
Yeah, it's tough. Although, oh, we're losing Dan a little bit there, but I'm saying
I think you
I
are.
think Dan's saying that the athleticism wasn't what it was. He's still pretty nimble at the jump cuts in the backfield when somebody does get penetration, so he's relying on that. And Reggie, I'm just messing with you. I'm just trying to play it up a little bit, so don't take that personal. Caroline, Cam Thomas got some pressure on Trent Williams per X. Yeah, I hope so. Like I'm interested to see snap counts and really break him down a little bit. Felt like they feathered him in, but I had hoped to see more, to tell you the truth, in terms of snap count.
I saw one snap.
Are you back?
I'm back.
Okay.
I've never
I
left.
think I saw 3, but oh, okay, cool. Then it must be me this time. Bro Cephas, welcome to the memberships. Nice
Thank
to
you.
see you. Appreciate you coming back. Old Callie's back. What's up,
What's
fella?
up, Callie?
Hope you're doing well. If we're not going to make a splash at wide receiver, should we bring in MVS because Sky is the buzzard food, or am I insane? I mean, like I said, it'd probably be a net nothing. But if you want somebody else to stretch, because Sky can't stretch the field right now, I will give him that.
I can't get behind bringing a
Anything.
guy into this team that's going to replace Sky Moore and give you the exact same thing, which is nothing.
Zero output. Okay, I'm with you. Frankie, thank you. And folks, this is where you can get it. If you don't see the link down below, you can follow that link there. It's bit.ly/RGR store, and you can get all of our gear over there as well. Miss Holly, nice to see you.
What's going on, Holly?
Member for almost 4 years. Man, it's been a while.
Thank you.
We very much appreciate you and all of your support.
Hope you're doing
Hope
well.
everybody's happy, honestly. 7 weeks into the season and 6 wins. I mean, we should be happy. You guys are absolutely right. Let's enjoy this for now. Are they winning in spite of? Pat Green asks, and thank you for the support. Appreciate you. Wins are not a team stat, or a team stat, not a quarterback stat. He's playing as bad as Daniel Jones with a fraction of the criticism. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Daniel Jones cannot carry Patrick Mahomes' jockstrap. I'm just telling you. Not any way, shape, or form. But statistically, the outputs look, I get what you're saying, similar. I don't think they're winning in spite of him. I don't think they win this game without him, to tell you the truth.
His last 3 interceptions have not been his fault. It's not his fault that they got deflected and that Xavier Worthy got tripped. He did not do those things. He did not put the ball in harm's way in the last 2 football games. So yes, the interceptions are happening, but Patrick Mahomes is not actively putting the football in harm's way. Now, I think that he's playing a little scared at times in terms of the pressure. He's seeing and feeling a little bit that's not there. And you saw that on a couple of third downs today where the pressure is not actually there, but his eyes come down like it is. So I will agree a little bit that we've talked a lot about his, I would say, failings this year. He hasn't been the best. I think over the last 2 weeks, he has gotten better in terms of not putting the football in harm's way. And today, they scored 28 points with Patrick not throwing a touchdown pass. They ran the ball in 4 times. Okay? That's fine for Patrick Mahomes. If he's not going to put the ball in actual harm's way, and eventually those turnovers do come out the other side, it's not his fault. So we can take those turnovers off his plate and say Patrick today is one of the reasons they won this football game.
I completely agree with you. Has he regressed, Brendan? You could make that argument a little bit in that I don't think he's trusting
Yeah,
as much. Like Dan said, he's
agreed.
playing a little scared at times. I think he puts too much pressure on himself at times. I would much rather see him scramble like this and get his butt out of bounds than I would see him try to force some passes that he's made so far this season. So I would say that. And I do not blame Matt Nagy. Maybe Nagy could give him more options. I don't think they're running levels enough, to tell you the truth. It seems to be either short or deep, and they don't seem to have the staggered depth that I think they should be using more. You could blame Nagy for that, maybe, but I don't think the regression or the way that Patrick's playing is on Matt Nagy. Do you?
Not necessarily, because we've talked about this to no end. It's not Matt Nagy designing the offense. It's Andy Reid designing the offense, calling the plays into Matt Nagy, and he's the only one talking to Mahomes. He's basically a glorified guy that just relays plays to Patrick Mahomes. Okay? Like, we've done this year after year after year where let's blame EB. No, let's blame Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy is not the one that's actually calling the football plays. It's Andy Reid. So if you want to blame somebody, blame Andy Reid for not actively doing, I think, what this team is best at for the most part. Running more play action. There were multiple times in this football game where the 49ers were actively expecting a run on first down, and they did not run a play action pass, and they could have gotten them multiple times. Didn't happen. I would blame Andy Reid for that.
No, you're absolutely right. And this is in one way that I actually miss Eric Bieniemy a little bit, because I think that would have been, I think he has the ability to confront Andy with some of those things a little bit more. Maybe that's just my perception, but that is what it is.
Maybe.
Well, thank you, buddy. Nice to see you. It's week 7, and the LTs have not improved. So the Chiefs don't pick up the phone and call Donovan Smith. Okay, so I filled in the blank a little early there. It's week 13, and they still might not call Donovan Smith. I don't know.
They're not calling him. They won't be doing it. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen at all. Again, I will say that they did a better job in the second half, and I think that Wanya played much better in the second of getting in. Honestly, getting on Nick Bosa's face a little bit, like just kind of getting in his face and being more aggressive with him, because he was going to be aggressive off the edge all night long, and you didn't really see him impact this football game in the second half. I mean, I'm going to go back and watch it, but I don't think that they did. So kudos to, again, the play caller in that regard, and Wanya Morris for stepping up today.
I agree. And a small shout out to Matt Araiza. I never mentioned specialists because I'm jealous of how easy their jobs are.
He had
a 60-yard average today. So yeah.
Boy.
Cheers to him. Justin, thank you, buddy. Thoughts on Sunday's Starship launch? Didn't even know what happened, brother.
Not a clue. You are in there on yourself, Justin.
I did see one last week, though, with the return controlled landing into the cradle. That was pretty badass. Cheers to them and all the designers over at SpaceX. Keep on chugging. I appreciate that. And thank you. Appreciate you, Justin. Okay. Oh, this might have been a double, Will. I'm sorry. If it is, let's give you a freebie here. And Rob, good to see you back, buddy. How good has Chanel become? And when are we going to line up Fortin outside the numbers and use a 50-50 ball? The 50-50 ball is the problem. They just don't want to do it. They don't like the percentages. 50-50 is not an acceptable percentage to Andy Reid, in my opinion. I don't think he ever wants to do it. And I think Patrick might be game, but I don't think Andy is.
Patrick is game, but Andy's in his head, because that throw to Travis Kelce that should have been a completion was late because he wasn't open enough when he was going to pull the trigger. That is an Andy Reid in his head saying, do not throw it yet because he is not wide open. That's a problem, and it has been for the last couple of seasons. And I've said it on this show over the past couple of weeks. Patrick does not trust it, and he is not just letting it spin. He wanted to. He actively wanted to throw that football, but instead he pumps for no reason, for absolutely no reason, because Travis already broke off Charvarius Ward. There was zero reason to pump fake it. Just let it go. Let the ball go. We're starting.
Yes. Wobbly, I couldn't agree with you more. Let's keep it that way. That's my personal.
Please.
And folks, this has been fun. Let's do the game balls. We don't do it every week, but just to sum everything up, because we didn't get to all of our notes. Who stood out to you the most, Dan? Who gets it?
I think it's honestly on the offensive side, McCole Hardman coming in, not just with the offensive play, but that huge punt return. That was a fantastic job from the special teams of funneling everyone to the opposite side and him just taking off and realizing he has that. There's obviously the touchdown, but every time he touched the football, positive things happened today. Even though he was taking some of the punts inside the 10, he didn't drop them. Okay. So I know people are wondering why.
Right.
The reason why is because punters are trying to get it deeper and having their punt return team get it inside the 5. If he's taking it at the 10, okay, you can live with that. But if he's letting it go like everyone seemingly did last year and the year before, and it goes inside the 5-yard line, well, you're probably going to yell at him. Why did you let that one go? So instead, he's gotten better at just catching the football, making better decisions when he has the time. And then today, he did a really great job of making guys miss multiple times and getting upfield. So offensively, I'm going with McCole Hardman. And defensively, there's so many different guys you could name. But I think overarchingly, we need to talk about Steve Spagnuolo being not just the best defensive play caller in the NFL, the possibly one of the best coaches of the last, I don't even know how long, 20 plus years. You would say, I would put him in conversation with Andy Reid and Bill Belichick in terms of some of the greatest coaches that have ever been on planet Earth over the last 2 decades. What he is doing is unfathomable with rookies, changing out defensive players every single year. Yes, he has a base core, but he gets rookies in there. They are involved every single year. So Steve Spagnuolo just continuing to put Brock Purdy in hell. He was in hell all game long. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. I will go straightforward. Patrick Mahomes didn't have the greatest day. Kareem Hunt did. Give him a game ball. Noah Gray finally stepped into the role that we've hoped for him to become for the first time, where he was the reliable guy. He was the guy. He was the answer today. So kudos to Noah Gray. On the defensive side, Nick Bolton was everywhere. Can't take anything away from him. I think he played great, but it was Trent McDuffie that got all the tough assignments, had to take on Ayuk. Would have been on Debo, in my opinion, had Debo been able to go. I know he lost at least one play. I think it was 2, honestly, 2 Ayuk, but he was there. And that play on Conley, and I like Chris Conley. I always liked him when he was in Kansas City. Yeah. But that last second with the ball in the grasp with the receiver, just swipe that away. That is epic all-pro play. And you got to shout him out for that. So, hey, it's incredible. Knicks fan, thank you. Approaching another 2 years, and I know you were in there for a couple of years before that. Small gaps will make your numbers reset, but cheers to you, buddy. We need to stop getting wide receivers hurt. It's hurting the game plan about every week. You are absolutely right. So run the ball and throw to the tight ends. I think that's what their game plan is going to be next week, too.
Hopefully not.
Well, we're going to find out. If you all would please listen to Justin and smash that like button, we would appreciate it. Like, sub, hit the bell, hit it all here. NFL 33, I'm going to have my most important takeaways from this weekend across the league coming for you. Hopefully tomorrow, if not Tuesday. If you have missed the last few, go get subscribed. It's like $5 a month. It's nothing. Get in there and get all the action that you're not seeing from around the league, because it does all affect this three-peat run for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think we're going to have a great week. You can find Dan on the Draft Network and everywhere. Make sure you check his timeline in harm's way. Dan, anything super cool that they should know about this week?
Not quite yet. I'm going to have a Jalen Walker film review for Draft Network on Monday, because finally a pass rusher did something in this class that we all want to really pay attention to. Chiefs don't care because he's a speed rusher off the edge, so that doesn't really matter for you guys. But if you're interested in draft stuff, that's coming up. So yeah, we got that.
I watched Ashton Galati for the first time this season. I was actually really happy that he started reducing inside. He is a Spags type guy that we should keep our eye on. So I'm ready.
Absolutely.
Folks, we'll have draft content for you. Don't worry. We're going to be on Autograph. Check out BetUS. Follow all of our sponsors as we get ready for this push through the second half of the season. Q&A tomorrow night, where we'll answer all of your questions. And we'll get down to maybe what Dan's seen on the college football scene, because I've only been watching games for fun at this point and taking some notes. I'm not watching film yet because I don't have a damn free moment in the day. So everyone, have a great Sunday night. Have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night live at 7 p.m. Central. Thank you, Dan, and thanks for the time away from the family.
Of course, guys. Can't wait to answer your questions tomorrow.
Here we go. Night all.